If a local authority issues care proceedings, you are automatically entitled to legal representation through legal aid, which is non-means and non-merits tested, which means regardless of your financial circumstances or the facts of your case, you are entitled to free legal representation throughout the whole care proceedings. You will know what the evidence is against you because when care proceedings are issued, the local authority will serve what's known as a bundle, which will contain the evidence in the case. And before you go to court, your solicitor will go through that evidence with you so that you can confirm whether you agree with it or dispute it, and you can receive advice about it and about the care proceedings before you go into the courtroom. You will have the benefit of a solicitor presenting your case in court, but you will provide your instructions not only before the hearing but during the hearing. You will have the opportunity to respond to the local authority's evidence by preparing a statement. Your solicitor will draft the statement for you, but you will have provided the instructions. You'll also receive advice from your solicitor throughout the case about whether to agree to certain assessments and support and guidance if there are issues that you need to overcome. For example, if you have a drug and alcohol problem and you want to get help for that, but also keep your child in your care, your solicitor will give you advice about local rehabilitation centres, about how to get funding. And at each stage of the court case, your solicitor will make any applications that will help and support your case. The court needs to obtain information about a child and about their circumstances throughout the lifetime of the care case to determine what's in the best welfare interests for the child. There will be a number of assessments, parenting assessments, there might be a psychological assessment, and it's in the parents' interest to cooperate with professionals so that their side of things can be heard and that they have the opportunity to prove that if there have been any concerns or are concerns, that they can overcome them, or that those concerns are not as serious as the social workers first thought. The court has a timetable and they will make directions about the dates when documents need to be filed and responses need to be given, and it's really important to keep to that timetable to make sure that there's not delays in the case, particularly not for your children. So it's important, if you are asked to file a statement, that you keep in contact with your solicitor so that things can get done. The role of a lawyer in care proceedings is to advise parents on the law and on the documents that are served within the care proceedings, to explain the process, to take instructions from the parent and then explain to them whether or not there's areas where they need to improve. For most parents, it's simple. They want to have their child back in their care. They don't want social services involved anymore, and they want to know how they can achieve that. A solicitor's role is to guide a parent through what's a very difficult process and try and support them and ensure that their story and their version of events is conveyed into the court process, whether that's within a statement or whether that's by representation at a fact-find hearing, and importantly at the conclusion of a case, to make sure their voice is heard and their wishes and feelings about the future for their children. It's important for any parent involved in care proceedings to understand that the welfare of the child is paramount, so the court's first concern is going to be the welfare of the child and not necessarily the parents. Your lawyer will guide you through the court process, will advise you on the law, but importantly support you to have your case heard in court and to make any changes so that you can try and achieve the outcome that you want. Your lawyer will give you advice throughout the proceedings, both on the law and also about the processes. During care proceedings, the court's paramount concern is the welfare of a child, but your lawyer will be taking instructions from you and trying to guide you through the process to get the result that you want. That will include signposting you to the support and help that you need in order, for example, to have a child placed back in your care or to keep the child in your care. That might be support through therapy, it may be rehabilitation, and your lawyer will make applications to the court if those types of help are what's needed for you to get your child back in your care. Your lawyer will also prepare your statements during the proceedings, and every time a document's served, they will make sure you're provided with a copy and give you advice on that. And your lawyer will also help you make sure that all the timescales that the court's directed are kept to. So, for example, if a local authority don't serve what they're supposed to serve on a certain date, your lawyer can make an application to bring the case back to court. Ultimately, your lawyer's role is to support you and to let your story be heard, while bearing in mind that it's your child who's the main person or star of the show in the care proceedings. But ultimately, most parents want what's best for their child, and that is to keep them all together as a family, and that's what we're there to try and help do. Most parents want to end care proceedings with a child in their care and with no public law orders. If the court proceedings don't end in the way that a parent wants, if a child is made subject of a care order or a special guardianship order, the role of a lawyer is to first of all advise a client if there's any merits in making an appeal against that decision. But there is also the option to apply to set aside those orders. That's not an easy thing to do. A parent will have to demonstrate that there has been a significant change in circumstances, but that is something that your lawyer can advise you on and support you through that process if it's an option.